And now, Signature Dish, a WETA original series.
Today on Signature Dish, we're celebrating the Latin kitchen.
We're cutting a path across the Americas.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Starting with a Caribbean classic.
Looks like we are going whole hog.
Puerto Rican cuisine doesn't get more pure than this.
We'll relish complex Central American flavors.
Here we have the mole.
Such a deep, beautiful color. And the aroma. You're killing me with this stuff, Chef.
And savor some South American fusion.
I wasn't expecting a master class in Italian pasta making, but here we are. Salud.
Salud.
I'm Seth Tillman, WETA producer and DC native, and I love good food. That's why I'm traveling to restaurants across the DMV. At each stop, looking for the one thing you just gotta try. That signature dish.
My first stop is all the way down in Woodbridge, Virginia, just south of the Occoquan, and in the middle of a large parking lot sits Lechonera DMV. The weekend-only food truck is something of a pork haven, serving up their signature lechon.
Lechon is probably the most famous dish out of Puerto Rico. Everything starts with a whole pig that gets seasoned, and then it gets roasted over wood or charcoal for a couple hours. What makes it unique is a very crunchy skin and super tender and moist meat.
Mario and I have been working together for over 14 years at this point. More than friends, we're family. During COVID, we had extra time on our hands. One day we decided to roast a pig.
We start roasting pig out of a backyard with an idea of eating a pig, sell the rest to cover the cost. We sold the whole pig, we didn't eat, and that's how Lechonera DMV started.
What we're doing, no one else is doing on the DMV. We're open every Saturday, Sunday, from 1 till 5, until we run out. As you can see, there's a lot of smoke here. The flavors around the food truck are something very notable. People see it, people smell it, people stop by, and little by little, our audience has just grown dramatically.
We also like to spread our pride of being Puerto Rican. You know, we don't hide it. I wear a Puerto Rican hat, we got a Puerto Rican flag. It's all about spreading the culture. Lechon is a labor of love. There's not a single Puerto Rican that will not remember lechon, and they will remember their childhood. They will not remember celebration, a New Year, Christmas. It's the typical dish on Christmas. So for me, lechon is all about the gathering with the family. The way we stay warm is when we see the face of people eating it. A lot of the kids never seen a pig in their life, so they come, they see, and they're like, wow. Adults come in and sometimes, oh, I haven't seen a pig in 30 years. They start crying. For us, that's what is important about the business.
Richard.
Hey, bienvenido.
Good to meet you, Mario.
Bienvenido, Seth.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Looks like we're finally doing it. We're going whole hog on Signature Dish today.
We're doing lechon today. Most iconic dish back in Puerto Rico and now here in Woodbridge.
Well, it's really something to behold. And Richard, you're a braver man than I am. I could not be out here on a t-shirt on a day like today.
This is summertime for us. You spend a winter out here, you get used to it.
All right, so how do you even begin to prepare this pig?
Well, first up, we're gonna start doing a few incisions. We season right before we go into the pit. We wanna make sure that we can distribute the seasoning equally all around the pig.
And you're seasoning the inside of the pig here, is that
And we're
correct?
seasoning the inside of the pig because we're cooking with direct high heat. If we season the outside, that will burn. You want a nice crispy skin.
And I've had Filipino lechon, I've had porchetta, but what makes Puerto Rican lechon special?
Well, for me, I would say it's the best because basically this is a tradition that I grew up doing. My great-grandfather used to be the pig master back home, and we try to carry on the recipe and the tradition here. We start by having a very traditional seasoning, fresh garlic, dry oregano, fresh pepper, and salt.
Well, this is a beautifully seasoned pig, but what does it take to get this onto that?
Oh, we're about to show you right now.
After Richard and Mario get the pig on the spit, they secure it in place using metal wire.
All right, well, I guess I didn't really know what I was getting myself into when I got out of bed this morning.
I don't think you had an idea of how real this was.
And this is how food is made.
When we first opened Lechonera, the first debate we had, like, do we keep the head on? yes or no, because it's gonna be a little bit difficult for some people. But actually, when we opened, we had a lot of people requesting to get the head. We also have customers that call early in the morning, hey, can you save the head? I'm going today.
Wow. All right, so there's a part of the pig for everybody.
Yes, sir.
There it is.
So now the pig is ready to go on the pit. So you ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
So now we're taking it to the pit. Richard's gonna go on the other side right now, and then he's grabbing it.
Ready to go.
That's it. Turn it on.
Then the machine does the work.
Yeah, the machine does the work. We already have one going because we want to eat some point today. And then we're gonna baste it. What we use is annatto seed oil. We cook the annatto seeds in olive oil and avocado oil. Every hour, we're constantly basting the pig.
And the annatto oil is giving it a really nice red color when you brush
Yes,
that on.
so it will help with the coloring of the pig, and also we inject a little bit of some flavor. When we get old people here and they try it, they're like, oh, did you put annatto seed? And we're like, okay, so it
They
gives
know.
they know exactly. And then something we also do is for younger generations, we do some what we call perniles, because the younger generations, they don't want the whole pig. As part of our menu today, we got Chinese barbecue pork. That's not anything traditional out of Puerto Rico, but it's one of Richard's favorite dish. It's very common in some takeouts in Puerto Rico. And then we got some pumpkin that we're roasting and some pineapples.
Wow. And then obviously you got to be working this fire, making sure the right temperature all the time.
Absolutely. That's actually the hardest part. That's what people tend to not doing it. It takes 6 hours, so you're constantly feeding fire. We use charcoal and we use wood, and you let it do its work.
Well, on a day like today, standing right here is a welcome.
Trust me, in the winter is very, very, very important. It's the thing that keeps us warm.
Just like it's keeping these pigs nice and warm.
Yeah, absolutely. So we already based the pig. We're gonna add some charcoal. We're gonna close this bad boy out, and then we're gonna go cook some rice. So our rice is very unique. We make our own sazon with annatto seed powder. We're gonna give those spices a little bit of a toast. We use hand-cut vegetables that we saute in annatto seed oil. We're gonna incorporate the gandules into the pot, and then what is very unique is we deglaze with Puerto Rico beer, and then we let the alcohol cooks. Then we take some of the water that we use for the gandules, we add saffron. When we boil that for a couple minutes, we're gonna add the rice. We're gonna start mixing and mixing and mixing. When we see it that is pretty much dry, we're gonna cover it with banana leaves, cook it for like 35 to 45 minutes, and all our herbs get added to the end. It's gonna add more freshness to the rice. So while this rice is cooking, we cannot forget about the main thing here. We have to keep an eye on the pigs, adding charcoal and wood as necessary, and checking internal temperatures. And then when the pig is ready, we take it out and we do the magic, we chop it. We're gonna separate the pig into primals. We take the skin, we let it cool down so it gets nice and crispy, and then we chop it up. Very unique here, that is very different from the island. We don't do bones. So we're gonna take all the meat out of the bones, and then we mix everything. So you're gonna get lean, you're gonna get moist, you're gonna get fatty parts. So then the best way to serve it is a rice bowl. We're gonna take the rice with pigeon peas. We switch sides often here on the truck. Today we got braised green bananas. We're gonna do plantain relish. We're gonna add the pig, and then we will be ready for a great feast.
All right, gentlemen, I cannot wait.
This is the moment of truth.
I see some skin right on top, and I think we gotta do a little crunch test here.
Crunch test.
Oh, that snap.
How's that?
Oh man. I don't want to say too much yet because I want to go in for some meat, but even in that one bite, nice herbal flavors. And you didn't even rub the outside of the skin.
Not at all.
But I got to go in and try some of this meat as well.
Sure, let's see, let's see. Use your hands, brother.
Yeah.
That's how you eat.
No more knife and fork, come on.
Let's
do this.
One.
Ain't that right?
All right, where have you guys been my whole life? That is incredible. Just perfectly seasoned. And of course the smoke. Lots and lots of smoky flavor. It just warms and fills you, which I really needed today. And like any good kind of fatty pork dish, you need a little vinegar to cut it with. I'm guessing that's what's in here.
In here we have I would say Puerto
Puerto
Rican
Rican
mother
mother
sauce, mayo ketchup.
Mayo ketchup. That
Just
was
a-
island dressing.
That's an island dressing, right? And I will say pique. You will find pique on any Puerto Rican family under the sink. Your
Got it.
grandma would always have it, and
Yeah.
that's what you want to use for your pork.
So this is a dip,
Drip or drizzle?
dip or drizzle. All right.
How was that?
Oh, I love that because it's piquant, but you know what? It also has a little bit of heat too.
Oh yeah,
which
it
is
does.
nice.
It does. And you always keep your base, and it's like sourdough, right? You keep on building on top of your whole base, so it can get pretty spicy over the time.
And on top of all that, I haven't even taken a bite of the rice yet. Guys, that rice and those peas, everything is so creamy. I feel like I'm getting another layer of Puerto Rican flavors here.
Yeah, it said, you know, this is basically the purest form of comida criolla puertorriqueña. Puerto Rican cuisine doesn't get more pure than this.
And I like too, so many food trucks are doing their cooking in a commissary kitchen or offsite, you know, for good reason. There's not a lot of space. But I like that you guys are just putting on a show here.
We cook here. You can come here, you can see it, you can feel it, you can smell it, and then you can eat it. So it doesn't get better than that.
Well, this was just a barrage of smoke and flavor. It's a cool, crisp day, but I feel like I've been transported to the islands. I cannot thank you guys enough.
Gracias. Gracias a ti.
Gracias.
I'm heading next to Silver Spring. Just off Georgia Avenue in the Montgomery Hills neighborhood is Lime and Cilantro. At this all-day cafe and restaurant, chef and owner Danny Chavez is showcasing just how colorful and vibrant Central American cooking can be.
I was born in El Salvador. I'm from a little town called San Miguel. Growing up, you know, Grandpa was always growing all the vegetables, so I learned from when I was a little baby how to like treat vegetables and how to respect the products that we eat. So I was an executive chef at Art and Soul, a hotel downtown DC for 3 years. Owning a restaurant was definitely one thing that I had in mind, which is like, let me just go and do my thing. And we found the locations here at Silver Spring, and we just went for it.
In the kitchen, Chef Danny gets an assist from his mother, Maria.
Working with my mom in the kitchen is just joyful. I just learn more from her every day. Her tamales, you know, her recipe from grandma. She makes all the tamales. She actually makes all the pupusas too. Being with my mom in the kitchen makes me want to go even higher. We want to bring that traditional cuisine from El Salvador to a different spin. It's either different ingredients or plating in a way that looks like art on the plate. I think we're teaching our Salvadoran community that our food can be transformed to something higher than what we are used to.
Chef,
Hey,
Good to meet you.
How are you? Thank you for stopping by.
oh, I am really excited. I see some dried chilies and spices. Ooh, and chocolate. I'm thinking maybe there's a mole in the works here.
Yeah, we're gonna do our braised short rib mole. We don't do 30 ingredients on our mole, but you know, our flavors are there.
Looks like we're at least up to double digits though, right?
Right, exactly.
How do you begin?
So yeah, we're gonna start with toasting our chilies and spice. We're gonna toast it for a few minutes. It's gonna help us bring that mole flavor out, get them nice and brown. And then here we have our rest of the ingredients. This is chicken and beef stock. Then we have our raisins. This is actually gonna bring a little bit more sweetness, a little bit of acid. We have our tomatoes in here.
Looks like they've been nicely charred up already.
Yeah, so we do char them ahead of time just to bring a little bit of smokiness.
And of course, chocolate, right?
Yeah, you can't make mole without chocolate.
And Chef, is this chocolate sweetened or unsweetened chocolate?
This is sweet chocolate, but we don't add too much chocolate to our mole. We do have a little bit of plantain just to bring a little bit of sweetness in there too. I haven't seen mole with plantains. I think this is probably like a unique technique that I'm trying to bring from my country. We can definitely pull our dry ingredients. You see it nice and brown.
The aroma from those chilies, the smokiness I'm picking up is really incredible.
That's the whole point of toasting our ingredients for the mole. We're just gonna add them a little bit. So we have ancho peppers and we have pastillas. We're just gonna keep slowly adding them, and then we're just gonna make sure they're all like submerged in the stock, and then just gonna help us also release more flavor.
So with adding all these chilies, is this gonna be a spicy mole?
No, our mole is not spicy, but this is gonna add a little kick in the back of your tongue. We don't want to overpower the rest of the dish. Now we're gonna add the toasted ingredients. We have coriander, anise seed, sesame seed, almonds, cinnamon, cloves. We're gonna give it a little stir.
I like that the pot is nearly overflowing with flavor, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah. So now we're gonna let all the ingredients simmer for 30 minutes. We're gonna blend it, and then we're gonna put it back in the pot. We're gonna fry up the plantains, and after we add the fried plantains, we're gonna cook it for 8 hours. So here we have the finished mole. Obviously, we're not gonna wait 8 hours for you guys to film this, right? So as you can see, all the colors, it's just so bright and so deep.
There's such a beautiful gloss to that mole sauce, and the color just looks so rich. And the aroma, again, you're killing me with this stuff, Chef.
This is the beauty of taking a lot of time to make this mole. Each hour just gets even richer and richer. So we have the mole. Over here we have our 8-hour short rib. So after we braise it for 8 hours, we let it sit overnight in the liquid so you concentrate all the flavor in there. What we're gonna do right now is we're just gonna put it in the oven so it can come up to a temperature.
So we got 8 or 9 hours on the mole, 8 hours of the short ribs. This dish takes a little time to get it right.
It does, it does. So now that the short is in the oven, we're gonna season our rice. We actually cook this rice in chicken stock. So here we have the salt and pepper. So now we're gonna add the green. We don't wanna cook it too much because we wanna preserve the color of it. So we're gonna stir it, make sure that everything gets in there.
You just want them to kind of wilt just a little bit.
Right, yeah. Now that this is done, I'm just gonna do the finishing plating. We're gonna do rice first. Short rib goes on top and we just glaze with more mole. The garnish are gonna be a pickled cabbage, and we're gonna do a little bit of queso fresco. And our final garnish will be, of course, cilantro.
All right, Chef, so many beautiful colors, and I know this is the culmination of many, many hours of work. I can't wait to reap the reward.
You know, with this final dish, you're gonna be tasting a little bit of sweet, acid, a little bit of saltiness, so it's like a full combination. Hopefully you're enjoying it.
Holy mole. This dish is an instant favorite of mine. Really nice smoky notes in that mole, and some really interesting flavor notes on top. Something pickled as well?
Yeah, so it's pickled red cabbage, which is in El Salvador we call it escabeche. It's gonna be sweet, acid, and little saltiness. So that's what makes this dish, I would say, perfect.
Well, I love the way that pickled flavor works. And the short rib too, just so tender. And I guess that only comes from all that extra time braising.
Yeah, no, of course, you know, the time consuming, the final product, 8 hours braising. I mean, it should just melt in your mouth.
And I gotta say the cilantro, it really does play nicely. And of course, it's lime and cilantro.
Yeah, of course, yeah. How can I have it in a dish? I tell people, you know, our food is amazing, it tastes really good. You barely can tell there's cilantro in our food.
Have you been able to convince some cilantro haters, bring them along to your side?
We have. That's our goal, you know. It could be overwhelmed, but the way we use it is modern. To all those that, you know, don't enjoy cilantro, I always ask them, like, come and try us, give us a chance, and we'll prove you wrong.
You've had so much success so quickly since you've opened. How are you able to kind of stay true to the roots or the vision you've had for this restaurant?
The big part is family, right? We stay together and we work together and want to present something that we are cooking with our heart and to our guests.
And is that easy for you to work with your mother in the kitchen? Is there ever any judgment about how you're doing something?
Yeah, so normally, you know, if I'm doing something in the kitchen, she'll look at me, now, why don't you add this sazon to the food? I'm like, Mom. But yeah, you know, we just have fun in the kitchen, and I learn a lot from her every day, and that's the goal.
Well, you have so many flavors at play here. Such a balance of sweet and smoky, pickled, rich. Just a wonderful, wonderful dish. And I can't wait to see you again, Chef. Thanks so much.
We'll be here waiting for you.
Our Latin voyage is coming to a close in Adams Morgan. Here you'll find Sabo, an upscale spot showcasing the cuisine of southern South America. The restaurant is run by brothers Juan and Manuel Oliveira.
We're from Uruguay, and we came because my dad was a diplomat for the Navy. I think it's a very interesting area in South America. We have a lot of influences from other countries like Italy, France, Portugal, Spain that you can see on the food of Uruguay as well.
People think Uruguayan food is just grilled meat, but it's more than that. We eat pasta on Sundays, for example. In every neighbor is a pizza place. What we try to show is a part of ingredients from Uruguay, but we apply what we learn and develop here working for another people in different cuisines.
So I think Juan makes really interesting what he's doing with the food. I think he just cooks what he likes to cook, and that's one of our strong points. We just cook what we think is good, you know?
At Sabo, Manuel's drinks program shares top billing with Juan's cooking.
In Uruguay, we have a strong bar culture. Each neighbor have more than one bar.
So the objective of the beverage program is to highlight the bar culture of Uruguay and kind of Buenos Aires as well, with all those influences. We use ingredients, herbs like mate on our cocktails. And then the wine list features wines from Uruguay and South America, Argentina, Brazil. Uruguayan wine, it's really special. In Uruguay, we have a small population. The wines in there is really boutique. They really curate their wines and put a lot of love into them. I think people that are into wine, they kind of know. So we actually sell a lot of wine from Uruguay here, and we have people coming here specifically for that.
I'm off to Sabo, named for the national flower of Uruguay, to learn more about their European-influenced signature dish.
Jeff, good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
I am excited about whatever you have in store today. What are you cooking up?
We making our signature dish, chorizo dumplings. Here we fusion a family recipe. It's a traditional dish from Uruguay, which is baked sausages in white wine. So we use that as a filling. For the dough, it's not like a classic dumpling. It's a ricotta gnocchi.
All right, so gnocchi, this is a little bit of that Italian influence.
Exactly. And also because part of my career I spent on Italy, I work Italian places.
All right, so you're gonna start with the dumpling dough right here?
Yes, first we do the sheep ricotta, whole egg. We're going with the olive oil, salt, and pecorino sardo.
Pecorino's gonna add a little bit of sharpness as well?
Yes, so now we wanna start to work a little bit with this. We wanna make kind of a nice paste, smooth. So now we're going with the flour. Now we wanna mix this for 1 or 2 minutes, and we finish on the table. Pour with our hands.
And with gnocchi dough too, you don't want to overwork it, right? You want to be nice and gentle?
No, of course. So now we start to try to put everything together. In this particular, because it's a gnocchi dough with a good amount of cheese, people can feel the gnocchi a little bit.
So the dough is not just a vehicle for the
Exactly.
filling. It's
No,
also
no.
a key player in this
Yeah.
dish.
So now you see the dough.
It's getting nice and stretchy.
Okay. So we want to add a little bit of flour. So now we push.
I got to tell you, Chef, when I came to a South American restaurant today, I wasn't expecting a master class in Italian pasta making, but here we
Yeah.
are.
So now we use the rolling pin to stretch the dough.
Chef, I've seen some rolling pins before, but never a beast like this.
Yeah, no. So this is our chorizo filling. To make the chorizo filling, we start with the sausage, cook it in the oil. So when chorizo get nice color, we add the celery, carrot, and onions. Let them cook a little bit. We add the rosemary, tomato paste, salt, pepper, and smoked paprika, white wine, and we simmer about 2 hours. We add pecorino sardo and then parsley. We put on the food processor, and after that, we put in the piping bag.
All right, and every country in Latin America is going to have their own version of chorizo, right?
Yes. If you go more like a north of South America, you see more spices. But the classic Argentinian and Uruguayan sausage is salt, paprika, no more than that. And of course, 100% pork,
But come on, which country makes the best chorizo?
Uruguay for sure.
I knew it.
Yeah, for us is the best. So we go like this. One order is 4 pieces. Now, very important thing is a little bit of water. The water helps to the dough stick together. So we're going like this.
Little pockets of porky flavor.
Yes. Now we use cutter.
And I like that everything's being done by hand and not in a machine. It's giving these dumplings a little bit of a rustic look and feel to them.
Yes, this dish is 100% made by hand. Now, to finish the dish, we want to cook the dumplings on the kombu broth. To make the broth, we use celery, carrots, and onions, kombu, some bonito flakes, dry porcini mushrooms, some water. We cook it for about 2 hours. After we cook the dumplings on the broth, the dumplings are topped with oyster mushrooms. We first pickle them, and then we pan-sear. And the chorizo dumpling will be ready.
All right, Chef Manuel, this is a beautiful dish. I cannot wait to dig into one of these dumplings. Trying to get a little bit of that broth and hopefully a mushroom in my first bite.
Yeah, the idea is a well-balanced dish. You feel all the fattiness of the sausage, the vinegar on the mushrooms, the umami in the broth, with the freshness of the scallions too.
Wow. My mushroom fell down, so I had to go back and get it. But that is just a stellar bite. The mushroom has that real acidity that balances so well with the richness of that chorizo. And the creaminess too, I guess that's coming from the ricotta, comes through loud and clear. And I see some red wine. Are we looking at an Uruguayan wine here?
Yes. So this is a wine from the north of Uruguay, from a hill called Cerro Chapeu. The grape is Tanat. It was introduced by the French a long time ago. It's usually a bigger, bolder, tannic wine that we enjoy with steak usually, and it really pairs well with the chorizo dumplings.
All right, salud.
Salud.
Salud. Oh yeah, almost like a bolder Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
And I like that the French brought that grape, so we're talking about Spanish influence, Italian influence, French influence. And when I think about, countries like Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, in my head, I'm thinking meat and potatoes. I don't know if that's a commonly held misconception about South American food.
Yes and not. Like traditionally, yes, but now I think it's more open to other things.
I think that when people come in, they're surprised that half of the menu is like veggies and different techniques. We definitely do have some steak, but other things as well. Well, this is really unique from Juan, but I think in Argentina and Uruguay, because you have so many people from different countries, you definitely have like this type of fusions going on right now.
And I have to say, I love my brother dearly. I don't think the two of us could go into business together. How do you guys make it work?
It's definitely really fun. There is a lot of competition, between the brothers. So I think that helps.
I think it's a double competition because he works in the front and we work in the back. So we always are constantly like challenge ourselves.
Well, I'm very impressed that you guys are making it work. I've learned a lot about Uruguayan food today. I'm excited to learn a lot more about Uruguayan wines, so I'll definitely be coming back. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for coming.
To find out more about great food in the Washington metro area, visit WETA.org/signature dish.